So first of all, I'd like to say hello. My first time teaching in Singapore, actually. No, I know a number of people have been attending my live stream sessions, so some faces are familiar. It's first time meeting many of you in person. I'm happy to be here. Singapore is a very interesting place. I'm down from the mountain. I live, currently there are 4 bhikkhus and 1 nun, 70 acres. And my monastery adjoins a forest reserve of about another 1,000 acres. And a village 2 kilometers away has 200 people. So we have a very spacious situation. It's very capped. Thailand has about, I guess, 60,000 monasteries. It's a country of 70 million people. Most villages will have a kind of what they call a village monastery and a forest monastery. Happy to share some of my experience, encourage you. So we started with some breath meditation, and that's the foundation of my practice. In the Anapanasati Sutta, I love the first paragraph. And sometimes one of the things I love about the forest tradition is the simplicity. Like practice doesn't have to be complicated. And so the first paragraph in the body of the teaching, after the introduction, Lord Buddha was staying in the Savatthi area, and he was very pleased with how the monks were practicing at the time. People were attaining various paths and fruits, becoming stream enterers, sakadagamis, anagamis. And, he gave a teaching, and he said, breath meditation, through cultivating breath meditation, the 4 foundations of mindfulness can be fully developed. That's a profound sentence. And sometimes we read sutra after sutra after sutra, we want to understand Buddhism. Even you read the Satipatthana Sutta, it's a lot more complicated than that. Lord Buddha says that through practicing breath meditation, the 4 foundations of mindfulness can be fully cultivated. He says further, in fully cultivating the 4 foundations of mindfulness, the 7 factors of enlightenment are brought to full development. The next sentence is, in bringing the 7 factors of enlightenment to full development, the mind is purified and liberated. 1 paragraph, it starts with breath meditation, leads to enlightenment. Obviously, the tricky part is that we need to do it a lot. That's the part that's hard. The part that's hard is that we need to be consistent, and we really need to learn how do we use this wonderful object? How do we use this meditation practice so that will be the result? But at the very least, I think it's really good to have a lot of faith and confidence in it. Another thing Lord Buddha says about breath meditation, he says that it is the crown jewel in the crown of all meditation objects. So it's just nice to remember that when we look at the 5 spiritual powers, another list that Lord Buddha often speaks about, faith is the first. So it's like, what do we have faith in? We have faith in Buddha, Lord Buddha. We have faith in liberation. We have faith that the path leads to liberation. But in practical terms, how are we going to lift our personal level of faith out so that it produces energy, the next of the 5 spiritual powers? We have to have faith in several things: our ability, our potential, the meditation practice, the meditation object. Just if you can really have faith in that, you'll notice you have a lot more energy. And sometimes we need to ask ourselves, do I have faith? Do I have faith that I have the ability? Because sometimes we have faith in the Buddha, we have faith in the Arahants, and born as a Buddhist, or met some Buddhist teachings, like them. But is there something in you that feels like, yeah, the Arahants can do it, but I can't do it? That needs to actually be seen, and it needs to be challenged. We're not trying to become conceited, but we're trying to affirm what Lord Buddha has said. We all have the potential to purify and liberate the mind, and no exceptions. So it's like, you have to understand that that's the hardware, it's not the software. When you get a body and a mind, that's the potential. And then the method. The Lord Buddha says this is the crown jewel. And if we do this consistently, a lot, we will develop the 4 foundations of mindfulness. So just thinking about how is that possible? When you come to sit, I do recommend a bit of a body sweeping at first, like you just scan your awareness from the top of your head to your body when you're after a busy day, just kind of get in the body. And then taking those deep breaths, kind of, as I was suggesting earlier, making the suggestion to the mind that we're giving the interest to the breathing now. So when you do a bit of a sweep and you know that you're sitting, that's mindfulness of the body, one aspect of mindfulness of the body. And there's another thing I want to mention, because it's part of basic right view, and it's something that I think people feel some confusion about. When practicing mindfulness of the body, it's important to understand that there is no such thing as a physical feeling. Something I want to say to you Buddhists. Your body is made of 4 elements. That's the body. Feelings that arise in body-based consciousness. And the way they're described in the sutras is feelings that arise due to body-based contact. So even if the pain is in the knee area, it's not in the bone. It's helpful to understand this, because when you want to develop insight into this actual situation, we need to understand what a body is, and what a mind is, and what consciousness is. So we do some investigation into that. But breath meditation it counts as mindfulness of the body, because it is feelings arising due to body-based contact. So you have a body, you have breathing. But what you'll notice as you practice more and more breath meditation is that when feelings of tranquility and serenity arise, it doesn't feel like breathing anymore. It's more of a kind of a sense of something cool, and it's a kind of an expansion and contraction, something spherical. It becomes a more subtle feeling. But even for myself, when I do breath meditation, I observe it in the area of the chest. And I personally find that helpful, partly because it's not near the head. I mean, tip of the nose is like a runway sometimes to the obsessive thinking. So I like to be aware of the breath. And when I come to practice breath meditation, I'll just have a look which hindrance is present. And usually do a bit of a body sweep. And my main practice when I begin meditation is to do about 5 to 10 minutes of metta. And Lord Buddha explained in the 11 benefits of Metta Sutta, for people who cultivate metta, the mind becomes peaceful easily. So most people want to have a mind that becomes peaceful easily. So there's a very big hint that Lord Buddha has given us. One of the benefits of cultivating metta is that those who do, their minds become peaceful easily. But one of the ways to get, some people feel a bit of a block to get the metta flowing. And one of the things I do is I just kind of have a look there and I say, is there any suffering present? Is there any suffering present here in the side? Normally there is, because unless you're fully liberated, as an arahant, there's attachment. And there's normally one of the hindrances present: sensuality, sensual craving, irritation or aversion, sloth, sleepiness, anxiousness, worry, restlessness, or doubt, some of those will be present when you come to sit. And they all have a feeling associated with them. And it's good to train the mind to notice this rather than be kind of stuck in the content, stuck in the story. Try to dive a bit deeper and go to the direct felt experience. What does sleepiness feel like? What are those feelings? What does restlessness feel like? What does sensual craving feel like? And then you also notice, does it hurt? It does actually. They all hurt a little bit. And so when I come to sit, I'm saying, is there some pain there? Yes. Okay. May I be well? May I be happy? May I be well? May I be happy? That's just a really nice way to respond to the experience of having some suffering, having some unsatisfactoriness, being in this human situation. Having a look, is there any pain there? Oh yeah, there is. May I be well? May I be happy? And you use the metta practice, because metta practice will give rise to a pleasant feeling. Samatha practice, Lord Buddha describes it as a divine abiding, a sublime abiding. So we use the metta to kind of pacify the hindrances. It's a samatha practice, it's calming. And then we give the attention to the breath. And as you will all have some experience, there'll be some pain that comes up in the body. So it's like aware that the body's sitting, aware of feelings associated with breathing, and then aware of the Vedana, the Vedananusati, and then the mind states, the Chitta. So the thing is, it's one awareness. And those four foundations of mindfulness, it's all in the same space. And when you're using the breath, you can be aware of it all. Okay, and you don't even have to think about it too much. You just have that direct awareness of knowing, okay, feeling a feeling arising due to body-based contact, okay. You don't even need to know what it is. You just need to know it and aware of it. Give the interest to the breath. And another way that we use breath meditation is when you see your attachment, like sensual craving, the first hindrance, the things that you want, or the irritation and the aversion, the second hindrance. You can, when you feel that grasping, the pain of that, the weight of that, you can use the breath to just kind of blow through it and try to wash it out of the mind with the breath. It's okay, we learn how to use the breath to, one, be aware of it, but also put it down, whatever it is. And this is how it works. You give the interest to the breath, you notice the thought, try not to feed it, it ceases by itself. You notice the emotion or the passion or whatever, the craving, just knowing it, having the intention of putting it down when you can, giving the interest to the feeling of the breath, arising and ceasing, space, arising and ceasing. And that feeling will change and it will fall away. And we train ourselves to know this, arising, ceasing of a breath, changing of feelings in the body, changing of the feelings associated with mind states and their cessation. And if we can do that, when you notice a thought arise and cease, put it down, don't pick it up. Just notice there's a feeling, don't feed it, have kindness, give the interest to the breath, it falls away by itself. What happens normally is a sense of spaciousness, of clarity, of awareness that knows the empty nature of mind, awareness that knows emptiness. Emptiness of what? Emptiness of a self, emptiness of a world, emptiness of feelings being solid, emptiness of permanence. And so this breath meditation practice is a real jewel and incredibly potent with potential. Now, how do we develop the ability to work with it? This is where I'd like to make some suggestions. If you really want your breath meditation to become a powerful practice that is helping you to develop the 4 foundations of mindfulness and the 7 factors of enlightenment, you need to be thinking of a couple of sessions a day. So the thing about mindfulness is we all have some, and a lot of modern people they like to say, I practice mindfulness in all postures. I try to be mindful of every activity, and that's fine. But the problem is, oftentimes these people don't have very good mindfulness. So it's like, I try to be vaguely wishy-washy, mindful of all postures of all things. The thing about good mindfulness is that when a mindset arises, if mindfulness is really good, it can drop it. So if you're kind of basically being mindful of the sensual craving, basically being mindful as you go to the fridge and eat the ice cream, that's not good mindfulness. There's weak mindfulness. If you're mindful that you're feeling irritated, if you're mindful that you're about to say something out of anger, and you think you're mindful as you say it, that's not good mindfulness. And we need to be truthful about this. But if you were able to meditate in the morning, many people like to meditate last thing at night. And I often meet people, lovely people, who come and say to me that they've been meditating for 10 or 15 years, but they don't feel they're progressing much. And I will ask them, when do you meditate? Well, last thing at night, just before sleeping. That's a factor. How long do you meditate for? 15 minutes. Okay. And so if you want to take some advice from a meditation monk, you need to meditate more than 15 minutes. And you need to do it not last thing in the day, after you've done everything else. So if you start your day, remember Lord Buddha says in the Dhammapada, mind is forerunner. Setting the intention is very important. So what I recommend is, and I know many people in hot countries, including myself, we like to stay up late. It's nice and cool late at night. But if you want to have more mindfulness in your daily life, the best time to meditate is in the morning after having rested. So many people need to make some adjustments, sleep earlier. And it's good to know about these devices. The blue light gives messages to the brain that it's daytime. So you don't feel tired while you're playing on your device. But if you want a good night's sleep, and if you want to feel tired naturally, I would set some kind of limit. Don't look at it past 8. Don't look at your devices past 8 o'clock. Try to get to bed by 11, and then get up at least at the latest, and then get up in the morning. And another thing I'd like to suggest is not to look at your device first thing in the morning. So these days, when I came to be a monk 25 years ago, we didn't have these yet. And the wall around the monastery really was a wall. Worldly things didn't come in. And I remember occasionally I'd see a newspaper that was a month old. That's what life was like 25 years ago in the monastery. Now even most monks have these things. But we need to learn how to use it, not be used by it. And so for myself, I don't put the sound on my phone. The only notification on my Line app is Kanajananan, my teacher. If he's calling, I'll hear it. If anyone else is calling, no, I won't hear it. And I'll pick it up when I want to, and I'll listen to the messages when it's convenient, and I'll call people back when it's convenient for me. And I think that I'm fortunate because I became a monk 25 years ago. I was able to develop some discipline around these things so that when I begin to use it, I can use it rather than it dragging me around. So, you do know by now, you've had that experience where you read a message, it's like some kind of scandal or some friend is having some traumatic experience. Like, the potential is there that this is going to affect your mind state. So I'd like to suggest that you just give yourself that first hour in the morning not to do that. Just allow the conventional you in your flat, probably in Singapore, and meditate. This body, this breath, this mind, and afterward. And then establish as much clarity as you can. Another important thing to do then is to set the intention. I'm going to be mindful of my postures. And the wonderful thing about practicing in the morning after having rested is that when you have more energy and more clarity and you know what you're likely to meet throughout your day, you can start setting yourself little kind of goals. That person who I find really irritating, I'm going to try not to speak with irritation. Or that person that you know you like to gossip about behind their back with your friends, you try and do that a little bit less. That person that you're falling in love with, and try not to look at them. Right. You set little kind of goals. Like you're going to try to contain this craving energy, not going to fall as much into irritation, not going to fall as much into craving. And it works. And so I think if people can establish the habit of meditating in the morning, giving themselves that time, and then we need to, ideally, if you really want the best benefits from practice, ideally there's a session in the afternoon and a session in the evening. And the reason I suggest that is because clarity, as we attend to more and more things, and as there is more and more sense contact, and as there's busyness, restlessness, those hindrances are being fed in the mind, and the clarity degenerates. That's just normal. And so it's not the case that if you really have the right method, I mean, many people misunderstand this. They think they haven't quite found the right method yet because they're meditating for half an hour and they're still not liberated. And it's, no, the method's right, but you need to do more. You need to do more practice. And so a lot of people who are busy can't quite do that yet, but try to do the morning session and then try to do the evening session. And you will see, if you can do a morning session, you will see there is more clarity in your life. You will see there is less reactivity. And as we become clear about where we are reacting, and we set little goals for ourselves to react less and contain our unskillful qualities, you'll notice that where in the past you would say it and afterwards you think, oh, I wish I didn't say that. You will find that halfway through you're able to stop now, stop. And as you continue to train, it's like you're about to say it, and if it really isn't beneficial, don't bother. If it really isn't going to be helpful, or if nothing's going to change, just don't say it. Silence is golden sometimes. And as sati with some samadhi gets even better, even when the thoughts are beginning to come up and you know it's a futile, you can stop it there. You don't have to think about it. Don't think about that. And this is like when mindfulness is really good, you begin to have mastery about what you allow yourself to think about. And then you can make choices. I mean, if you develop your metta, develop your brahmaviharas, rather than think about why you love her or him, you can think about bones. It's like, oh, I'm about to go into a lustful fantasy. Well, what about my teeth? Because this is, and you can place your awareness on your teeth. Teeth. Breathing in danta, breathing out danta. It's really possible. This is what mental training is about, that you have a choice where you place your awareness. You have a choice what you be mindful of. You have some ability to restrain proliferation, direct it, channel it. That's what mental cultivation is. So if you can, I mean, not everybody can, but it's also it's a good goal to have. Set the intention to practice in the mornings more. Set the intention to do 2 sessions rather than 1. Do it every day wherever you are. Some people aren't doing it every day yet, so try to set the intention to have a daily practice. And in the beginning, sometimes you have to force it. You just have to force yourself, and there is some unpleasantness in that. But when you start to witness the benefit of it, you won't need to force yourself anymore. There's that sense of, no, I really appreciate this clarity. It's really precious. It's a tremendous support in my life. I want to nourish clarity. But in the beginning, we have to force ourselves until we have that experience. And then you really see the benefit. You want to do more. So I've come to Singapore visiting friends, young students, seeing wonderful temples and things, but I'm still meditating 4 or 5 times a day. in a busy part of my life. I get up and meditate. Sun Xian comes and knocks on my door, takes me for breakfast. After breakfast, we go to the Burmese temple to meditate. Then we go to somebody's house for a meal. After the meal, we meditate. Say, where do you want to go, Ajahn? I want to go to a Buddhist temple. We go there, we look at a bunch of nice things, and we meditate. I go back after the Dhamma talk, I'm going to meditate. And I don't experience that as oppressive, because meditation, the clarity that comes from meditation, that being able to put down clutter and crampness and just establish clarity and spaciousness is really nice. So it's a part of my life now. And I mean, it's nice to see all these nice things. It's also nice to close your eyes and look at the breath. Nice in a different way. So I hope something I said about breath meditation has been helpful to you.